Yeah, I sit on the board of a university and we have an AI agent. We recruit all over the world and people call in and they'll speak Chinese, they speak Spanish, they speak whatever. It's very simple. You can answer questions, send information, things like that. And we've had that now for a little while. That's helped a lot. I think your insight the what kind of candidate will want to interview with an AI agent. I think you're onto something there. A high end candidate for a high end job is probably wanting something. They're probably going to want to skip through a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? But like their tolerance, if they don't need a job and all that, their tolerance to sometimes go through processes is not very high.
Yes, yes, and that's one of my hypotheses. The high value, the senior engineers who prefer a more personal approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the things we are doing or we commit. So when we set the invitation, we set it's not commandments, but similar. We set our ground rules. What are the things that we commit as a company for every person that goes through our process? And one of the things we do is we commit to give feedback to the candidate. What are things they need to do to improve,
Hmm.
right? Because I've seen a lot of recruiting processes that ghost candidates, right?
Yeah, for sure. Happens all
Right.
the time.
So we try to provide that feedback, right? We choose the best 2%, so we give the 98% what they need to do better, and we try to give them hope, and we invite them to apply again, right? So read this book, follow this practice, whatever it is, and then apply again in 6 months, apply again in a year, right?
What kind of jobs are these? These would be for engineers primarily?
Yeah, so we started with engineering, so software engineering, but then I expanded to QA and design. Um, because this is a little bit of tangent, but when I was coding, I was mostly focused on building the highest quality code possible until I realized that's fine, but I started to need I started to need to think about what are the user needs, right? Because if I don't understand why the user needs this feature, then I could be writing the most beautiful code that nobody's going to use because it's going to be useless, right? So that's how I got involved into the product owner role, because on software you're thinking on the how to build it, and then on the product you're thinking on what to build it and why, right?
Yeah.
And then involving the QA, we involve the QA in following Ford's idea of fixing quality as early as possible. So we save time. And then we bring the design team, because that way the design can convey the requirements from the product owner in a much, clear way. So the best way that I can explain this is, if you've seen Friends, where the couch episode, right, where they struggling with the couch, right, it's easier to just provide the requirements once and then give it to the developer so they can build it
Hmm.
without interruption dependencies and whatnot, right? So that has been my evolution of those roles. And then from there, I start doing non-technical roles: administration, recruiting, as a assistants, virtual assistants, and account executives, right? And we've been successful in those roles as well on finding right candidate for those roles.